Oh, I love that. So we'll stick with a pre-show. That's the best, man. No, dude. Friggin' see, I used to try to get I try to get other hosts or co-hosts or anybody else you guys to come on. I'm always like, man, no, you got a great thought. I don't want to hear it. I want you to talk about it live because it's free flow. All right. Here we are, Rants of Izzo pre-show here on Spreey Media. It's Tuesday. The host of Report and Opine, Eric, is sitting in with me today. It's gonna be a great Tuesday. I don't know about that. So, a couple different ways you want to help the show grow. Support us. We are a 100% listener-sponsored, listener-supported show. Go to rantsofizzo.com. I'll pull this up so everyone can see this. Can I do this? I'm never prepared. There's just no point in being prepared on shit. I don't. All right, so if you're over on the Rants of Izzo show page, you come back down, you see this monthly membership here? Yeah, fuck this sticker stuff. Don't even ask me. We're coming up with some cool stuff for you guys, but you can make the Rants of Izzo show possible. This is how you do it. You wind up becoming a $5 a month member right here. rantsofizzo.com. That's how you support us. Period. End of story. Do it. rantsofizzo.com. Coffee Club. I got to look at that thing. I don't know what that is anymore. Just do the $5 one. It's fantastic. We want you to do that. Also, make sure you go to Spreely.com and check out the social media website. Check out the list of shows that we have there as well, too, like Report and Opine. Some great content. There may be... Isn't there an awesome book that kind of goes along inside of that, Eric?
Yeah, it's called New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued. It only gets better with age, and on the plus side, for a lot of people, there's very few words, right? A picture says 1,000 words, and there's 260 full-color pages of pictures front and back, so double that.
Wow, for people like me to enjoy.
Exactly.
All right, kids, less than 1 minute, so we're starting here on the Rants of Izzo show on Spreely Media. We're live every, the fuck is this today? Today's Tuesday. Every Monday through Friday, we're live. Always coming to you live. Unless it's Mercury retrograde. Then we're like, I ain't doing this. This shit's the bet. I'm not doing this today.
I never understood this Mercury retrograde thing.
No. You can go in the chat. We finally have a consolidated chat. It's Telegram, Rants of Izzo show chat. Get in there. Bev will explain all the Mercury retrograde thing. Bev, Sarah, April, it's good to see you guys over in the chat. It's growing. PETA's in there. All right, let's have a show.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention. This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your hosts, Dominick Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
All right, good afternoon. Rants of Izzo show here on Spreely Media. All things speak freely. Spreely, do you get it by now? How many times do I have to friggin' say it? Speak freely. It's a compound word. We are the only free speech network out there that you can say whatever you want. Yeah, if you say disrespectful shit, I mean, you'll probably get dealt with. Like, I try to just toe that line, but it is what it is. Spreely is, I'm so tired of everyone who comes up with, hey, your redsistersass.com or whatever. Dude, we got the free speech. Eric Butler from Report and Opine sitting with me because it's Tuesday. It's awesome. All right, now you got to unleash, because before the show, you and I were like, I have no idea what's going on in the world today. I don't care. Politics, Biden, all this shit. And you came up with a dialogue I interrupted you with because you were about to make a stream of consciousness point. And now the floor is yours.
Okay, yeah. Well, just last night, I was a little bit unhinged, I guess, maybe on Instagram because um a SF Gate reporter had just gone completely childish, and he was bashing Jerry Seinfeld and whatever. You don't have to like Jerry Seinfeld. I like him. I like the show. I think it actually, in a weird way, helps with life because it makes everything relatable and you just kind of laugh it off and you go to the next thing. So I found this guy's Twitter and a bunch of pictures of him online. And I'm like, dude, if I should ever run into this guy in San Francisco, it's going to be a problem for everybody. So I was angry at him, clearly. But I also noticed, and this isn't the first time it's happened, that typically the quote unquote conservative crowd, like, the majority of, I guess, my Instagram followers, will always find something, right? There's loads of awful, terrible things that you can complain about if you choose to keep up with the news. But for people to lambaste me and say, well, Jerry Seinfeld he's part of the reason for this decline. And it's just like there's loads of stuff you can complain about. And just let's not turn everything into a miserable conspiracy theory. It's the same thing with a long time ago, I made the joke, or it's not a joke, it's true that I like sugar cereal. Okay, yeah. Sue me, right? I like Frosted Flakes.
We all did. Fucking growing up in the '80s. Oh my god, yeah.
And they're like, well,
we can't hang on. You can't say that without telling us what your favorite is.
It's got to be Frosted Flakes.
Okay, I'm a shredded wheat, but the shredded wheat with the sugar on one side of it,
with the frosting.
Mini wheat, the frosted mini wheats. I could kill an entire box in one sitting, no problem.
Exactly. And I felt like, can anybody just enjoy something for a little bit? Like, the Seinfeld show started in 1989. Okay.
Oh my god.
And now we're in 2024. We're like, well, he's part of this decline. And I'm like, dude, just enjoy something. Enjoy Frosted Flakes. Enjoy whatever. You go get a slushie or a Slurpee or whatever. Like, everything doesn't have to be. It's like you got to enjoy life, right? Some people smoke cigarettes and like, oh, cigarettes are bad for you. Like, if people like something, just let them like it for a little bit. And I was like, bro, why are you guys so? I guess I'm looking at this from a very biased lens, obviously, because I do like Seinfeld and watch it almost every day. It's like sleep background noise, but it's like, just enjoy something, right? Like, every single thing, you always have to find the worst quality and everything.
Yeah,
and it's tiring.
People love being miserable. I don't know what this is. It's my mother. It was what it is. The world has become my mother. She's not happy. Well, she's dead now, unless she is miserable. And I've seen, like, I had a boss at a bar I worked at when I was 21, 22. So a 4 a.m. bar. The man was 40 when I started working there. And I think I was old, right? And he was a great guy to all of us. But we had this game we played, and I didn't understand the bartenders who had been there for years before I got there. Every couple of weeks would sit there and they'd all huddle up and go, $40. No, I'm gonna go 25. 80. Well, what are you guys doing? And the thing is whenever he was in a bad mood, the bartenders would take a survey on how short we would be that night. Meaning, we had the old banger registers that had the tape, right? Didn't have the electronics. So at the end of the night, and it always happened, whenever he was in a bad mood, he'd walk back with 4 register tapes and go, "You're fucking 160 short, find it." Well, that was his way of saying we owed him, 160 divided by 4, we were going to pay. It just happened all the fucking time, man. And you couldn't do anything, especially if I was 22, 23 years old, making $500 a night. It's like, all right, fine. Here's my tax for the fucking week and shit. But now, and I don't know if it's on this insane rise of self-importance with social media, because it used to be 30, 40 years ago, unless you were discovered by People magazine or Hollywood, you were a nobody. Now everybody can make themselves anybody. The playing field is completely fucking level. I don't care who says what. So now is it, well, Eric is doing awesome. Eric's in shape, this and that. Oh, I'm going to go. Eric posts, I don't know, a picture that I don't know, you just made pizza, right? You made your first oven-baked pizza. It's extremely healthy. It tastes delicious. You just got an award for it. I'm the guy in the comment section who goes, yeah, but, you could have cut it in squares, not triangles. It's like everybody has to be fucking miserable for some. Your analogy with Seinfeld is right, because we are living in a giant non-stop complaint about something television show. Everybody complains nonstop. That's all they do.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I just realized I didn't do this on purpose, but I'm wearing my Holston's hat from New Jersey, of course, the restaurant made famous by The Sopranos, and notoriously Tony's mother was always complaining. So just a weird full circle.
That's why, I couldn't watch.
Complain.
Everyone thinks I'm a big Sopranos show guy, and I'm not, because there was so much accuracy there, especially Tony's mother. That she was my grandmother and my mother. Just miserable, fucking miserable. I met the soup Nazi when I was working at the bar. Oh. Yeah, I met him in real life. The guy who plays Soup Nazi.
Oh, the guy. Okay, so not the real Soup Nazi, but the guy who played the Soup Nazi.
He was a super nice guy. Yeah, I met him.
Of course. Oh, I assume he was. I've been to the restaurant, but I've never met the actual guy or the actor, of course. But it's just New York stuff,
It's incredible. All right, let's talk about some stuff. We covered this yesterday. I'll kind of talk about it a little bit again because it's going through things. The protests are out there. Trump is being threatened to go into jail because he's on his 10th violation of gag order and all. Do you think that Trump is trying to go to jail on purpose and it might be a good strategy?
No, I don't think he's trying to go to jail on purpose. I think as minuscule as these gag order violations are, I think, and obviously I don't know, I don't have any inside scoop on this, but I think there comes a point where you have to just say no, right? These people are completely rogue, and we see it across the board. Obviously, we have all these crooked, corrupt prosecutors. We even have now this lady, Marilyn Mosby. You heard about her?
Yeah. She refresh us our memory from where she's at. She's one of the DAs, right?
She's a prosecutor. I don't know if she was a DA or she's definitely some sort of official in Baltimore. Maybe I could have a little bit more facts on this, but I think it's that her case is, as if we needed proof, but it's proof of this like civil war that we're in. But I say all that to say, just ignore them. I mean, what are they going to do? Is Letitia James, Big Shame James, she's going to employ the entire NYPD or a dozen NYPD officers to like take Trump to jail? Just ignore them. And you can only hope, I think I've said this before, but you can only hope to be as criminal as they are so they will ignore you. I think that's what he's doing, but I don't know.
So for those who are wondering, judge opened up by speaking directly to former President Trump and his team of lawyers, addressing the prosecution's claim that Trump, the presumptive 2024 Republican candidate nominee, has repeatedly violated the court gag order public statements in April. The merchant said, who's merchant? Merchant is...
That's the judge. That's the guy.
Okay. Mr. Trump, as you know, the prosecution has filed 3 separate motions asking this court find you in contempt. In a moment, I'm going to hand down my decision on a third motion in which I find you criminally contempt for the 10th time. Could you picture what would literally stop Trump from just, they say, okay, you got to go to jail, or we find you guilty on this, so you're going to jail. And he just goes, no. What do you think could happen? Because to be honest, I think that would be the start of what many people think January 6th should have been, in my opinion. In my opinion, if Trump had said on January 6th, burn the whole thing down, DC would be, I think it would be ashes. I really do, because he's got those kind of fanatics out there, right? I think that if Trump just says, all right, Mr. Trump, just so you know, I find you contempt, or Mr. Trump, we find you guilty of inflating your cost taxes. You got to spend 9 months in jail. And Trump goes, no.
Yeah.
Do I think Mar-a-Lago will have a militia there surrounded in in hillbilly baseball caps and torn jeans and pickup trucks and Trump flags and
cowboy boots.
Yeah, dude, what if that's what it takes? And he's just like, I'm just not going. I'm just not. And Americans are sick and tired of this shit.
Absolutely. And, you know, I don't want to be like an accelerationist, but this has got to stop. Okay. We're long past the old backwards, bizarro clown world. Like, these people are genuinely unhinged. And I think I don't know if I've figured it out, but my theory is that, because I've always asked, what is really at stake for these people, right? Gone are the days of a political discussion. So I'm like, what is really at stake for these people? Why are they so rabid about this? And I would assume that maybe they are scared. I don't know, because he probably won't do this, but he might put the brakes on their corruption train, right? So this lady, Marilyn Mosby, who, you know, she's committing mortgage fraud, and she's already been convicted. They're waiting on sentencing, I believe. But if Trump were to somehow get back in office, he might slow down that corruption train, which I guess is fairly obvious. But one way to get out ahead of that is to just say, no, we're not doing it anymore. And there's, for better or for worse, I truly do think that there are more level-headed people than the media would have us believe. Even in San Francisco, even in New York, we all saw, oh, Trump goes to the bodega and Trump goes to Chick-fil-A. It's over, and you could put him in jail, but you could try to put him in jail, but that's only going to make, like you said, people more rabid, and you're going to end up with a closer real life insurrection than what you claimed January 6th was. And everything is backwards, but exponentially backwards. It's not just, oh, we're prosecuting this, but we're not prosecuting that. It's like they are actively paying out BLM protesters, and you know, it really does. It has to stop. And there are more. I shouldn't say more of us, but like there are more sane people, even with the protests, right? There's been at least several stories about how, oh, like, surprise, surprise, they're not even Palestine protesters. They're just weird communists. They don't know what the hell's going on. But they're being largely funded by Soros. It's almost as if like an old white guy with a goatee and a close-up selfie on Facebook wrote these articles. I mean, they're just so predictable. But it needs to end. And I don't know if Trump's going to end it. I actually doubt he will, right? I mean, I don't think he's going to step in and really just start immediately cleaning house. Maybe that's what we're all hoping for, but he just needs to get one step closer to sanity, and that's just a bridge too far for the left. It's insane.
Both sides are like that, right? Because I don't understand the obsession for either side wanting like Trump or Biden to go to jail. It's like, okay, when they do, it's the same thing as like if the Earth was proven to be flat, and all the flat earthers were jumping up and down and going, "We told you." I would go, "Yeah, okay, it's Tuesday. How does now the world being flat change my life whatsoever?" Oh, well, that just proves that NASA's a lie. Okay, great. And it proves that I understand. But in this immediate instance, I still got to go put gas in my car, and it's still going to be $4.10. So what the fuck do I care? So if Biden goes to jail, how's it going to change my life? It's not. If Trump goes to jail, how's it going to change my life? And then conversely, that hatred. While you were talking, I was thinking, I'm like, man, there has had to have been a person or people or, I don't know, place or something that I don't like just because somebody told me when I was younger, right? And when I got older, I sat there and I'm like, there are people I just can't stand your fucking face. I can't describe it. And I realized it's a personality conflict and it's a me issue. So I have learned to listen and pay attention to what people do and then form my opinion on their actions, behavior, and words. And then if I don't like them, it still has not, okay, it doesn't do anything. I don't like you. Great. That means nothing to me. It doesn't affect my life. I don't get either side who, if Trump is vindicated and he's Like it's found out to be just what he goes back in office and he drains a swamp and he fires everybody in there. Joe Smith or Jane Smith, Jane Doe, John Doe, whatever, from any corner of the United States, how does that affect your life now? Yeah, he got back in and he just changed all these liberals with the fucking fired them all. What did that do for you, dude? How does it change your life like right in this moment? Because they're still going to be pissed at him anyways if he gets in. And if in the 4 years that he's in office, he doesn't, I don't know, release the Pizzagate files like he said he would, or he doesn't do whatever and blah, 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 blah. People are still going to be pissed at him. So I'll never understand why people will fly their Trump flag and eat, sleep, and breathe Trump. Again, I made a post the other day saying America first, and I said that, so fuck like Hamas and fuck Israel and fuck everybody. I even said, it's like fuck MAGA, and all the people in the comment section are going, no, MAGA literally means America first. No, MAGA is a Trump first fucking movement. I'm sorry, because MAGA ate everybody who supported DeSantis alive. And even if maybe I'm just fucking insane, but even let's just say for argument's sakes that Trump does not get reelected and somebody else does as a Democrat, sadly, I still fucking support them because I want my country to succeed. And maybe I'm just delusional for thinking that I'm an American first guy, which means that as much as I can't stand liberals, they still have every single fucking right I do. So I don't get either side, to be honest. And I'm losing faith quickly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we are at the point where just I always say, like, you can parrot 99 out of 100% or 99 out of 100 of the weirdo left-wing talking points, but if you miss one, they will throw you under the bus, and that is enough to turn you into a conservative. And I also wanted to say that, to your point about like just kind of not liking someone or liking someone because of something else you heard, that's true. Like, to be 100% honest, like, I like Trump simply because there's a bunch of rabid people out there that hate him, and I just don't like them. Like, I dislike the rabid, we'll do whatever we will cut off our nose to spite our face just to get Trump, which is only making me like him more, simply to spite you. So right, I'm doing that for all the wrong reasons and not even understanding all of every single one of the policies. And a lot of people really like the First Step Act, which again I don't know all the ins and outs of, but it kind of seemed like a little bit of a jailbreak bill. So I don't really care for that. Maybe that's because I come from California and I lived in New York for several years. And when these criminals start getting, you give them an inch, they take a mile, right? So it seems to me now, like, no, dude, we're in this sort of like police state realm where, like, bro, in New York or Oakland, California, or San Francisco, I'm at the point where you need to go to jail for jaywalking, because this needs to stop immediately. And to your point, once again, I remember being a kid growing up in California, in the Bay Area, and actively disliking Texas because people in California had sort of brainwashed me to believe that Texas is terrible. And now I live in Texas. Now you can see I got the Houston flood background. So that can change, and I am ready, willing, and able to accept new facts. And a lot of people just aren't ready to do that. Like, no matter what happens, of course, you can't present anybody with facts because they're going to call you all the names in the book. So you can only hope that they are going to come to their own conclusions eventually, but it doesn't seem like they are, right? Maybe some of these kids are, quote unquote, red pilling themselves, not even red pilling themselves because they're still completely rabid. They are letting us know that they don't like Bo Biden. And I also do not believe, if you want to take the theory that voting is even real, I don't think that all of the weirdo rabid protesters, who most of which aren't even students at the colleges they're protesting at, but I don't think they are going to diligently drop a vote in the mailbox for Bo Biden or Donald Trump. So it is a complete mess, to put it nicely.
I like and maybe that's one of the things that I love the most about being a cop, or is, man, if the facts and evidence are not there, the system does suck. Sometimes, like I know there are 2 women I'm supporting right now who are in jail for 30 years apiece for being convicted of murder. One is Marnie Yang, and she was convicted of murdering Sean Gale, who was an 85 Chicago Bear champion, his pregnant girlfriend, Ronnie Reuter, who she was 9 months pregnant at the time. And then Melissa Kaluzinski, who is, I think she's in her 13th year of a 30-year sentence. She was convicted of killing toddler Benjamin Kingen by picking him up at the mini Suvi daycare, throwing him into the ground, bashing his head. Both these women are 100% innocent. The commonality is my chief was involved in both of their cases, and the forced confessions, all this shit. There's mountains and mountains of evidences, and the process to overturn convictions in this country is insane. The fuck is my point for all this? What were you just talking about? Why do I lose?
The voters, the Biden voters, the protesters.
So it's facts and evidence, right? And I was when I first started working for my chief, and I heard about like the Melissa Kaluzinski case. I'm like, yeah, baby killer. Then all of a sudden the evidence started to come out, and I went, oh my God, I work for the fucking most corrupt police chief in the fucking world here. This is ridiculous. But you have to be open. You have to be open for facts and evidence. I'll say this all the time. You know, George Floyd is a phenomenal case of people being 100% emotionally invested in their position. When the incident first happened, 99.9% of the people in the world condemned Derek Chauvin for what he did. A year later, it was a flip of the coin. George Floyd is the most evil person in the world for holding a gun against a pregnant woman's stomach. He deserved to go to be killed, and he deserves to be in hell right now. People operate on fucking pure emotion. Whereas I'm going during that time, I broke everything down from talking about, yeah, let's back this up from the clerk who called about a fake $20 bill, to the cop who pointed a gun in Floyd's face for a fucking fake $20 bill, to the fact that Chauvin shouldn't have stayed in that position as long because of the perception and how the police and the white and the black community interact. But nobody wants to hear anything. Nobody. So when it comes down to Trump, if I criticize Biden, people keep saying, oh, well, so that means you want Trump to get X, Y, and Z, get away with it. I'm like, no. If you can legitimately show me legitimate crimes that Trump did, and he deserves to be held accountable for it, I'm 100% for it. Now, you got to be even on the other side, because there's an insurmountable investigation that needs to be done into Biden, the fucking Ukraine shit, all that other stuff, and that needs to be done. So just because I support one thing doesn't mean I deny the other. People aren't ready to do that. They don't want to do that today. They just want their emotional fulfillment met. And then the problem is, like I said, you go back to, you put Trump in jail. It's like, now what, guys? Did that make you come? Are you happy? Do you got to clean up the mess now? Because once he goes to jail and that post-nut clarity hits, it's going to be like, it's like the end of Truman Show. All right, now let's see what else is going on. What else is on TV? People don't know what they fucking want, man. So I think we're all lost.
Yeah, well, as we know, people don't want the solutions. They just want to be angry.
That's perfectly everything that you opened with. They do not want to. And here, I don't know if you heard this.
Are you still there? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay, there you go. Okay, I don't know. I thought maybe you cut out just a tiny bit there. But last thing here, as far as this Trump, he's going to pay $9,000, $10,000 or whatever. Okay, fine. Whatever. It's a drop in the bucket for him. It's a lot of money for me, like for regular people, $10,000 for something that isn't even a crime. But then you flip it over to the other side and you have this woman like Mosby, or you have these protesters in the Bay Area who block up traffic on the Bay Bridge, and then you just say, oh, no, there should be no consequences. I mean, there's no defense. There's not like, oh, that wasn't a crime. They're not even, at this point, this Marilyn Mosby woman, as far as I can understand it, she's not even she's not even claiming racism. She's just quite literally saying, oh, this is a political hit job. And I'm like, wait, are you sure you want to go down that road? Are you sure that you want to go down the road of saying that people are coming after you because this is a political thing when you've I don't know, did she embezzle or some sort of fraudulent mortgage and $90,000, and she just wants, oh yeah, well I was convicted by a jury, I'm awaiting sentencing, but I shouldn't have to do it because essentially I'm one of you. I am a Democrat. I am on the left, so you guys should just look the other way. And to her credit, why shouldn't people look the other way? Because I mean, that's what we've been taught for at least the last handful of years.
That what's her name? Carolyn Mosby?
Marilyn
Mosby. Yeah, she's they had her Marilyn Mosby. Yeah,
the two-tier justice system.
Oh yeah, she's hot too.
And she's mad that the two-tier justice system might not work in her favor.
I don't remember her trial and whatnot.
No, and the only reason I even know about this,
they kept that real quiet.
They did keep it quiet, and I heard about this because the weirdo, like race baiting Instagram influencers, Angela Cry, as I like to call her, she basically popularized the MAGA hat as the new Klan hood. All of these people, the Joy Reids of the world, are going to bat for her because they are angry. The two-tier justice system may not work in her favor.
That's the problem I have. Just come out and admit it. Just if you flat out said, yeah, we don't want to be held accountable for things, I would have so much respect for people. I really would. Who was the one we had out in my area? The mayor of Dalton is being criminally investigated. And then who was the one in Georgia who just talked about her boyfriend was the prosecutor for X, Y, and Z, and you're never going to hear about that shit again as well either. That's the biggest problem I have is that it all gets swept under the rug. It's like these people are they're the lightning rod for whatever is being circulated in the news, and then it just goes away. I hate that crap. I don't know if you heard this. I played this yesterday. This is my favorite Democrat rep, Maxine Waters, and this is just like Joy Reid. I have to, and I do this on the right too. I don't know who I've done it to lately though. I want to just choke them out, whoever makes shit like this up, because we have a nation of millions of stupid human beings who believe this crap, and that's danger. It's content like this that I don't know how we solve the free speech issue, but if free speech is ever in a danger, it's stuff like what this fucking liberal cunt has to say.
This is a man who we better be careful about. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the Justice Department and I'm going to ask the president to tell us what they're going to do to protect this country against violence if he loses. I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that he's connected with who are training up in the hills somewhere and targeting, what communities they're going to attack.
Now, if I say I don't want you walking down the streets of Chicago near a group of 10 or 15 black kids because they're going to wind up knocking you out, playing the knockout game, stomping on your head, mugging you, this and that stuff, I'm a racist, right? But if she and that's based off of all the evidence I've seen that's coming out of my city, and it's shitty, when she says stuff like this and inflames a group of people who think that white conservatives are all going to come after them, well, then she's just doing God's work and creating a panic.
It is, as I think you've pointed out, it's kind of this self-fulfilling thing. I always go back to the example of the BLM protesters all the way back in the Summer of Love, marching down the street and drinking a beer off the table of like a, I don't know, 60-ish, like they were fairly up there, 60, 70-year-old white couple, because of course it was dangerous to eat inside, so they had to eat outside, and these protesters walk by and drink beer off their table. And it's like, and then the couple says, oh, this is a little bit much. I don't really like these people. And then they say, see, I told you. I knew you were a racist. It's like, well, there's nothing to do with racists because you're a complete jerk. So they're trying to create that animosity so then they can look back on it and pretend that they didn't create it. Like they want to bash your knees, give you a wheelchair, send you a bill, and then ask for an apology. And some people still do not see this game. And I'm truly flabbergasted as to how this continues to happen. And I think, well, obviously I'm, my thoughts, but when I get somewhere, I just assume that most people, not all, can see the same thing. But then like you said, there are millions of really, really stupid people out there that I just genuinely forget about sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, how are you still doing this?
I don't fucking know, man. That's the problem I have and here's the other biggest problem. I say this all the time. So we spend 30 minutes fucking bitching about shit that really you have no control over, right? Can't do anything. After the show, I'm going to do what I got to do, and then I'm going to go sit outside because the sun is finally out and it's stormed out. So now I get to sit and I'm going to have a cigar. And I sit in a cul-de-sac in liberal suburbs of Chicago. I have mixed, there's every ethnicity in the two cul-de-sacs that I live in. It's joined together by one little 5-foot piece of, I don't know, it's like 10 feet maybe, whatever. I've got Tammy Duckworth, who lives in my cul-de-sac, senator, who's very conservative, or excuse me, holy shit, who's very liberal. Sorry about that. I've got retired state troopers who live across from me. I've got, well, she just died, but a raging liberal lived 2 doors over, and we all got along. We all got along. Dude, we go out there, if you're mowing the lawn, you wave and you help each other do whatever. And then all the adults are all in the cul-de-sac talking and waving. None of this shit that I see on my social media is anywhere else. When I go to Jewel, which is our main grocery store, and I go shopping in Jewel, nobody looks at me like, oh, he's a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody says, fuck you, you conservative. Nobody, I've never experienced that, ever. So I don't know. I think that when you inherently remove, like clearly it's Washington's the problem and the media's the problem. If you took that away, you'd have what we had in the 80s and the 90s. And I said this before. And how old are you again?
37.
Okay, so you were born. Wait, when were you born? 84?
86.
So you lived in the 90s, right? You grew up in the 90s, and I said this the other day with this kid who was making the monkey noises at that protest. And everybody on the left is like to say about this whole, it's clearly the conservatives, their racism is showing. And I said, no, what this is the forced narrative on a daily basis about how my skin color being white is the root problem for all of Black America. And then I had to stop and I thought about my youth. We had in the 80s and the 90s had the most diverse time in history, and everybody fucking got along. If you go on YouTube and you play commercials from the 80s and 90s, there's Black and Asian and white, and I don't know about Hispanic couples everywhere. My mother, I think my mother was racist. She grew up in the 60s from an Italian household. My father did as well too, but he wasn't a racist. And I'll never forget, like, the first Black couple or the mixed couple we saw trick-or-treating when I was like 7 years old. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So we had all this shit all over the place. I had Black friends, all this crap. It wasn't until, like, I want to say early 2000s that this forced agenda shit started to come out. And I'm like, wait a second. Didn't I grow up with Bill Cosby as my fucking father? I rushed to watch 227, Different World, Sanford and Son,
Fresh Prince, even Family Matters.
I rushed to watch all those shows. I never sat there and said, oh, there's a bunch of blacks on TV, change the channel. We never did that. So that's why anytime somebody's like, you're racist, I'm like, how the fuck am I racist? I don't, how?
But people, denying it only makes you more racist.
Thank you. Apparently my white inherited unconscious bias makes me fucking a racist. And but if you, again, too, I hate Chicago. I can't stand Chicago. I don't think there's a black issue. I think there's a youth issue. I've said it a million times. Anybody ever goes around any community of color that has people 35 and over, you see a completely different world. It's the fucking shithead kids. Like anybody who talks about the Hispanics coming over, no, it's not them. It's the shithead fucking kids that they have here that are the problem. So, but the media and the nonstop feeding, the force feeding in your face all day long, you should hate me and I should hate you, is what really is a problem. If we had the Great Reset and fucking and giant EMP blew, I think you'd have world peace. I really do.
Yeah, it's definitely the media. And look, obviously I'm old enough. I was talking to a buddy of mine recently. Like we grew up on the same golf course, and he's Indian, right? Like he's Patel, right?
Yeah.
Like he's darker than me, and we were just kind of reminiscing because he's a business owner now and he hates Gavin Newsom and all this stuff. And we're like, wait, okay, when we grew up playing golf in the late 90s, early 2000s, we used to play for free. We used to get free food. I mean, maybe that's like a reversal racism thing. Like we were just hanging out with the guys that worked at the shop, you know, playing until it got dark. And there was never this aura of racism. But then somewhere along the line, and even later than that, even when I was in college, I knew guys who, there was one guy we used to call Conservative Dan, and a bunch of whatever libs in San Francisco, and we would all be playing poker together. And there was never this animosity, but somewhere along the line, it became completely out of whack, which I do think I remain hopeful now in, you know, mid 2024 that we perhaps have hit the wall, right? There was a point in time where you couldn't go outside with a red hat on in New York, especially, because you increase the likelihood of being attacked. But now you can look at some of these interviews I've seen recently. Who was it? Adriana, what's her real name? Drea De Matteo,
right?
Who admits that she voted for Biden in 2020 reluctantly. Like she was, you know, head down, like embarrassed by it. So I think those tables are turning. And another thing to your point about the media, it goes with Rona, right? Do you think that, I don't think my family or parents or even friends in California or New York would be saying, oh, what's happening? People are dropping like flies all around me. I'm really scared it's a zombie apocalypse. It's just that they were fed nonstop this propaganda that made them scared, but it was completely detached from reality. And now you have the Biden administration out there who wants to say, well, the economy is really good. The numbers are great. Even in California, recently, Gavin Newsom says, "Oh, well, tourism dollars are up," and you're looking at too much social media, which might be part of it. But they want you to detach from reality and, of course, believe what they say and don't believe your lying eyes. And last point here, Mad Max Waters, the clip that you played, she clearly this works for her. This is not her first time inflaming tensions, right? She quite literally, a handful of years ago, stood up on a soapbox and said, get in their face and scream at them. So she's basically doubling down on this and won't. Donald Trump is facing thousands of dollars worth of fines for tweeting or Truth Social posts or whatever. That is completely inappropriate. But when this lady gets up and quite literally calls, maybe she's not calling for violence.
Yes, she was.
Exactly. I was being nice to her.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with the conservatives, is the liberals will take. I don't know. I'm not versed enough to talk about Trump's policies, right? Let's just say, for argument's sake, that he was the first president to go over to. He was the first president to go over and cross the North Korean border, shake hands with Kim Jong-un, and all this stuff. The liberal left will say he's over there to sell American secrets and give them the access to the target. It's like he's literally there for peace and strength and solidarity. But that's it. But here's you, who's Maxine Waters 100% clearly was telling people to get in people's faces. That in Illinois is assault. It's a preemptive attack of violence, so it's not battery yet. And look at us. We want to be still fair and proper. It needs to be, no, Maxine Waters needs to be held accountable. And I don't know what that looks like yet, right? And I'm saying this for entertainment purposes only. So if clearly the police, the FBI, the DOJ will not do their fucking jobs and investigate someone who's going to incite a riot. As far as I'm concerned, if any conservative has ever punched or kicked or whatever, have their coffee fucking pissed in by a liberal who watched the Maxine Waters clip, Maxine Waters should be fucking charged. That's the only way shit's ever going to get done. It's just like Stu Peters. I can't stand Stu Peters because the way he fucking promotes his message, you're going to have fanatics out there hurting people. And then Stu, I didn't say that. I didn't say that shit. I don't know what it's going to take. And he's a conservative. So I don't know what it's going to take for both sides to watch their fucking words. We are so irresponsible because there is no, man, I'm all over the place. I watched today, Wes Watson was on a panel talking to some guy, and it was like 5 or 10 guys on this panel, and one guy is talking shit to Wes, and then Wes gets up and is like, look at you, motherfucker, and Wes is he's in great shape. Men aren't supposed to have tits, and you're fat, you can't be proud of yourself, fuck you, and I'll slap you, whatever. And then everybody in the comment section is doing the whole, oh, it's the loudest guys in the room that are the most insecure, right? They're doing that shit. And I'm like, no. We became a nation that is so fucking comfortable for poking the bear, and then now the bear is restricted from swiping our fucking faces off, right? That's what happened. It used to be, now I'm 5'7". 5'7". I got into wrestling when I was 12 years old because I knew I wouldn't grow very big, and I needed to learn how to fucking fight because I had a mouth on me. So if I didn't take that responsibility and I mouthed off to somebody and got cracked in the fucking jaw, that's classical conditioning. Everybody likes to say, oh, fuck around and find out, but nobody's willing to administer the find out or accept it part. That's where we're at right now. We have politicians who are all over the place saying inflammatory shit. Trump wants to kill all gays. Trump wants to take your kids away from you. Trump wants to do this. And you need to have these people sit there and say, yeah, you just lied. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain you to a chair, and for every line you said, I'm going to take this baseball bat, it's aluminum, right down on your thighs, on your fucking thighs until you learn to tell the truth. We need to get back to that because as society, from on the man-on-man level to the fucking government-on-man level, we're fucking lost, dude, and that's the biggest problem we have is there's no accountability.
Yeah, and you're right. Like I'm like being nice to Maxine Waters, and I privately hold the belief that like the days of being nice are over, right? You can't say that. You can't, anything could be right. For me, even as a black person, if I say the wrong thing, that's a violence. And just for the record, we all remember people did act on Mad Max Waters' request, right? Remember when you can love or hate Charlie Kirk, you can love or hate Candace Owens, but it was a month or so after she got up on that soapbox and they started assaulting, throwing water bottles, or not water bottles, but like splashing water on Candace and Charlie.
They couldn't go to restaurants.
They can't go anywhere. Like they literally did exactly what she said, and then she says it again.
I think accountability. And that's where we're lacking massively in this country. And man, I just don't know. I don't know if anybody who is, because it's got to be both sides. I blame the right for never standing up for shit. I don't know what the fucking right does. And as far as I'm concerned, it is the whole lack of a wall. There's no boundary. And it does come back down to the concept of there's going to be physical retribution. That violence or threat of violence is the great equalizer for behavior. It's like, man, if I do that, what could fucking happen to me? When you took that away, and it started all the way.
You took it away for one side, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I really bullying. I wish to God bullying was still allowed It's the greatest fucking thing in the world for children to wind up being pressure tested. And then two things happen. You learn how not to get bullied. And then you learn, man, I don't want to bully anybody else. Sadly, the swarm of anonymous internet bullies is extremely overwhelming. And a lot of fucking people just can't stand it. I'm like, whatever, dude. Yeah, I've got a small dick, whatever. I don't give a shit. Bully me, whatever you want. Yay, I'm fat. Woohoo, got it. I'm going to go eat some more pizza, motherfucker. The problem I have is that this is where we live. We live online. We don't, and we have no standards as people who want to hold our own words accountable. From a faith perspective, I never noticed it until this last couple of months, but that second, or well, it's not the second commandment, I don't know which one it is. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That's all we do. It's all we do in the comment section. Oh, Eric moved out of California because he couldn't hack it anymore because he's too afraid of living in his city and he's a pussy. It's like, that's not what happened.
And
fucking
funny you bring that up because I follow this I used to be in real estate in New York, and I follow this real estate influencer lady, and she's genuinely kind of funny, and she gives tours and apartments and stuff, and she made a joke about New York. It's just a little sketch, whatever. It's not even a full 60 seconds, I think. A reel about just joking about basically flipping everything on its head. It's like, oh, well, the subways are so safe. And then she would run a clip of, these crazy news clips. It was clearly a joke. And I looked through her comments, and she's got hundreds of comments of weirdos in New York that A, can't even take a joke, but B, they lose their mind at the idea of a woman who lives and works in New York making a joke about that very same thing. So, right, they can't. And I would also do this. Sorry, I'm all over the place now. But
no, be it. This is what we do.
I would go into conservative, quote unquote, influencers on Instagram. Most notably, I'm thinking of B Tatum, whatever. Shout out B Tatum. I used to work for him. That's not the point of the story.
Yeah, my point about me and B Tatum.
Yeah.
He owes me an apology, motherfucker.
That aside, yeah. I'm naming him just because this is the one instance I remember of going onto one of his Instagram reels and posting leftist talking points, and it was a joke. It was obviously sarcastic, and then people come at me for so right wingers will come at me because I guess the sarcasm eluded them. Maybe it wasn't funny at all. I don't know.
Right.
But it's just take a joke, guys. You all got to calm down. And now we'll go full circle. This is why I also think part of the reason why I think we would actually be better off if more people were privy to Seinfeld, and you just laugh it off. You take a joke, you move on. The great Kanye West once said, okay, yeah, there's racist people in the world. You think that I'm going to let them put me on an invisible leash? You think that I'm going to let them put me in an invisible box? No, you just keep going. Or I guess, alternatively, you could cry about it nonstop.
I don't get it, man. I don't get this whole fucking I'm oppressed and at any level, right? I'm fucking, I don't get it. I just don't get, it's like shit. I could never, I'll give you my latest internal existential crisis. That's not a crisis that I just go, this is what it is. I'm going to be 50 years old. 50. I don't have kids. No one's going to wipe my ass when I turn fucking 85. Not going to happen. So, I mean, unless I pay them and they're fucking, because I said the way I want to go is kind of, it's romantic. I want to be found dead in my most expensive Barca lounger possible. And the hot 20-something-year-olds that I paid to come over for that afternoon find me. They're allowed to empty my wallet, then call 911, whatever. But it's like, all right, shit, man. I better stay in shape. I better be Jack LaLanne. I don't want to end up in a home. I better be financially independent, health independent, all this shit. I'm not crying about it going, I just never got married. No one's going to take care of me. Or like I was 5'7". I don't blame my fucking parents for the genetics they passed down because I never could play in the NBA. Never could be on the NFL. It's like my opportunity just wasn't. Fuck it. Oh, I don't care about the color of my skin in this light. Well, I'm not one of those guys that goes around going, yeah, all right, so I follow Christ and I'm white and I'm straight and I'm a male. Oh, the world's out to get me. I don't fucking care. I am one of those people that kind of. Here's the one thing I do is when I see these things. I'm not wishing for this, but like when you get the protesters in front of you, if you're in a car or somewhere, I'm kind of like, why doesn't that happen to me? Because I would drive fucking through because there's enough evidence out there to say that they are extremely dangerous and your life and property are in danger, so you need to drive through them. If I was confronted at a store and somebody said, you look like your haircut means you're conservative, I would be like, cunt, move, or I'm going to fucking give you a liver shot because I feel threatened. But they don't do that to me. I don't know. But I don't complain about my loss in life.
Well, there is certainly a disconnect, right? And the great Mike Tyson once said, oh, everybody has something to say until you get punched in the face. Yep. And on the plus side, though, the reality truly doesn't seem to back up what we see on social media, right? I mean, we constantly, I mean, there's loads of clips, libs of TikTok, all this weird stuff. And that is happening. I'm not saying this weirdo stuff is not happening, but you know, me, I've been out on the street. I've talked to people. I need to get back into editing these little clips, but even in San Francisco and in New York, even in these deep blue, crazy places that we're constantly seeing on the media, the people on the ground there do not hold any convictions. When you talk to them in person, they basically will spin a different story than you've ever seen on the media. And last point here is, I used to make the joke, the older I get, the less it becomes a joke, is that I would just turn 42 and marry a 30-year-old, but that's neither here nor there. There's an obvious disconnect, which works is good, but also bad. So there's a disconnect in, you know, the weirdo media trying to gaslight you into believing what they say and not believing your lying eyes. But on the plus side, there is these rabid people they really are few and far between, and the loudest people get the most attention, I guess. I'm not quite sure.
Mm-hmm. I've said it, but you ever want to see a model, and this is why it's so not fucking fair. Look at Biden. The man they're portraying now is not Joe Biden. You need to look at clips of Joe Biden in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and all the way up to his presidency with Obama. That man was a fucking bully. He was the epitome of, I will use force to get what I want. And now they're parading him around as this doddering, sweet old fucking man. It is. It's the one. It is the loudest. That's why they condemn the loudest person in the room, right? That's why guys like me are condemned. Oh, you're so insecure because you're talking. No, it's because I'm forceful. It's as simple as that. And then the collective is so insecure. It's that old Wes Watson shit. The collective is going to gang up on him and say, you're so insecure, little dick energy. And sadly, we needed to be punching through that shit. Random. I kind of want to close this out. This is hilarious. Governor Kathy Hochul.
Yes.
She's in an interview, an appearance at the Milken Institute, Global Institute in California. And
she was in California?
Yeah, she's quoted as saying, it's a $400 million consortium she is leading to create artificial intelligence computing center in New York, She says, quote, right now we have, young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know the word computer, what the word computer is, she said. For good measure, she added, they don't know. They don't know these things. You guys keep voting in fucking people who see you as like, oh, you poor little black thing. You don't know. You're okay. It's like, oh my God. I love it.
Bro, did she? Now, this is the age-old, well, okay, not age-old, but for me, several years now, if incompetence or evil, right? Are they just stupid or are they trying to manipulate people? And then you hear things like this, and it's like, is she serious? Is she really that out of touch? We already did this.
Dude,
Joe Biden already said, oh, you don't know how to work a computer.
That is that's the definition of racism, right? So it's not if I sit there and I defend a kid who's making fucking monkey noises. Oh, you're a racist. The kid is making a monkey noise. He's racist. No, that's bigotry. She just said that black children are inferior to other children. That is the textbook, well, now changed definition of racism. But you'll never make it out there. Her constituents will never fucking hold her accountable.
And this is why, look, I'm so deep in that it's hard for me to see what maybe some of these people who vote for these weirdos actually see. But this is part of the reason why I think, especially think about the levels of corruption in New York. You had the past two governors, Cuomo and Spitzer, both had to step down. You had lieutenant governor who used to work under Kathy Hochul when she replaced Andrew Cuomo. He was indicted by the feds. You got in San Francisco the mayor's ex-boyfriend, who was the Department of Public Works head. He was indicted by the feds. And you have to be very bad to be in a deep blue state. You have to be doing something incredibly off the plot. You have to go incredibly rogue for the corrupt FBI. Okay, maybe not the entire agency or whatever, but for them to come after you, you have to be doing something really, really bad. And so my point with that are people really voting for this? Or is there something a little bit more sinister happening?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Hey, why don't you tell everybody about Report and Opine and your awesome book?
Yes. My name's Eric, the channel, the outlet, Spreely, YouTube, Rumble, all that stuff. Report and Opine. Of course, I'm more active on Instagram lately. And my book, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued, is a photo documentary of the demise, and I guess the demise of New York has been going on for quite some time. But in 2020, I just went around, took a bunch of pictures, didn't set out to make a book. It later turned into a book, and it really only gets better with age. It's a coffee table book, very few words. Go buy it, look through all the photos, and just remember what these people are doing to us.
Yeah, there you go. Report and Opine. Make sure you check it out. Guys, it's Tuesday. Hope you're having a great damn day. Tomorrow we'll be back with Wednesday with Scott Sieverts and Maddie Wack from the Burn Pit Podcast. We'll be hanging out, talking about some more fucking world is burning and shit. But it's really not. It's really not. Get off social media. Go outside, have a cigar, and go roll around in the grass with your neighbor, especially if she's hot. Have a great damn day. Go out and help somebody today, and if you can't help them, just don't hurt them. See you guys tomorrow.